You hear the roar first, then the crackle, a flash of green across the screen, and someone in the arcade steps back from the cabinet like they touched a live wire. That's Blanka. Not the strongest hero, not the prettiest, but unforgettable. He didn't speak like the poster boys. He didn't move like them either. He rolled. He shocked. He grinned with teeth that said, "You're not ready." And somehow, that jungle wild child outlived trends, patches, and whole console generations. This is how a strange idea from the early 90s became a legend that still bites in 2025. Blanka started as an experiment, a shape, a color, a feeling. Designers were chasing silhouettes that popped off a crowded screen. They drew humans, then beasts, then something between. The green came later, the orange hair too. They needed a character you could spot in half a second, even in a room full of noise. So they gave him spikes, a hunched stance, and eyes that never apologized. He wasn't just another martial artist, he was the animal in the ring. The story they landed on was simple: a boy named Jimmy, a plane, a crash in the Amazon, years in the jungle, lightning storms, eels, rumors. Surviving made him strong, loneliness made him fierce. He forgot how to live like us. He learned how to win like us. It read like a comic book. It felt like an urban legend. It worked. 1. The arcade shock, SFII era. Here's the hook of his first moment, electric thunder. You hold your ground. You hum with power. Anyone who gets close pays for it. It's not flashy, it's not elegant, it's a dare. Most players took it once and remembered forever. The second hook, the rolling attack. Blanka curls into a ball and rockets forward. It punishes hesitation. It punishes panic. It punishes people who think a fight has to look clean. Nothing about Blanka is clean. In those early arcades, he scared casuals and embarrassed show-offs. You could smell the salt when someone ate 3 balls in a row. You could hear the laughter when a high kick got stuffed by a sudden zap. He forced you to learn the game's space rules. You couldn't sleep on charge time. You couldn't jump lazy. You had to think, or you got rolled. His ending in those days softened the edges. His mother recognized him. Anklets. A moment of warmth after a storm. It told players the monster had a heart. It told them the world might still take him back. It gave him a future beyond the jungle. That contrast made him bigger than a gimmick. He could hurt you. He could hug you. Both sides mattered. People argued about the green. Was it mutation? Was it chlorophyll? Was it lightning? The canon never needed to settle it. The color did its job. On cabinets, on flyers, on t-shirts, that green sold itself. You didn't need lore. You needed instinct. See green. Be careful. The competitive meta around him formed fast. Some matchups were free. Others were brick walls. If you knew how to punish ball, you got paid. If you didn't, you got farmed. Players called him a knowledge check. That label stuck for decades, and honestly, he wore it well. If you won, it felt clever. If you lost, it felt silly. Either way, you remembered. But that wasn't the whole story. The series wasn't done mutating him. 2. Time travel and growing pains. Alpha Zero. Alpha brought a younger world and a different tone. Blanka steps out of the jungle myth and into playful chaos. He's still wild, but he's curious. He bumps into goofballs. He glares at city lights. He tries to belong. That little twist matters. It adds a smile to the snarl. It tells you his soul isn't stuck in one gear. Fans discovered a lighter Blanka. He had friends. He had awkward scenes. He had moments where he tried to explain himself and failed. That failure felt human, and it bounced beautifully against his violence in the ring. One second he's howling with electricity, next second he's squinting at a vending machine like it might bite back. Crossovers kept his flame on high. Puzzle spin-offs, pocket fighters, mega mashups with rivals from other universes. In every art style, he stayed readable. Short, crouched, bright. The shape never lost clarity. That's hard to pull off. But the Jungle Kid did it in chibi form and in gritty realism. Silhouette beats fashion every time. Alpha's biggest gift was emotional range. You could now picture Blanka at a dinner table. Not a great dinner, a loud one. But still, a seat. That tiny mental image turned him from a move list into a person with a life between tournaments. And what happened next would bend that life into something stranger. 2. Time travel and growing pains. Alpha Zero Alpha brought a younger world and a different tone. Blanka steps out of the jungle myth and into playful chaos. He's still wild, but he's curious. He bumps into goofballs. He glares at city lights. He tries to belong. That little twist matters. It adds a smile to the snarl. It tells you his soul isn't stuck in one gear. Fans discovered a lighter Blanka. He had friends. He had awkward scenes. He had moments where he tried to explain himself and failed. That failure felt human. And it bounced beautifully against his violence in the ring. One second he's howling with electricity. Next second he's squinting at a vending machine like it might bite back. Crossovers kept his flame on high. Puzzle spin-offs, pocket fighters, mega mashups with rivals from other universes. In every art style, he stayed readable, short, crouched, bright. The shape never lost clarity. That's hard to pull off. But the Jungle Kid did it in chibi form and in gritty realism. Silhouette beats fashion every time. Alpha's biggest gift was emotional range. You could now picture Blanka at a dinner table. Not a great dinner, a loud one, but still a seat. That tiny mental image turned him from a move list into a person with a life between tournaments. And what happened next would bend that life into something stranger. 3. Hollywood splices. The DNA movies changed things. The live-action film folded Blanka into a lab experiment story. It tied him to soldiers and science and a villain who wanted control of everything. Purists argued, casual shrugged, the world moved on. But the movie planted a seed. Blanka as a victim of tinkering, a being shaped by the choices of others, not just storms, not just chance, but human hands. That idea echoed in fan art and late-night conversations. Would he have been different without interference? Could he have been a regular kid with a bike and homework if fate hadn't grabbed him? The film didn't settle it. It didn't need to. It gave the myth one more face. In stories like this, more faces means more years. Meanwhile, toys kept rolling. Plushies, statues, controllers with green shells and orange accents. The merch world recognized something the meta world already knew. Blanka sells feelings, fear, sure, but also laughter, also tenderness. That mix is rare, that mix endures. Then the series hit reboot mode, new engine, new era, old electricity. 4. The SFIV age, tricks, traps, and teeth. SFIV brought 3D models to 2D fighting. Some characters felt heavier, some felt sharper. Blanka felt slipperier. That's the best word. He became a set of questions on 2 legs. Can you anti-air this hop? Do you know which ball is safe? Will you tech this throw? Can you punish that slide at this range? Can you hold still when it all looks like chaos? At locals, he was the villain of bracket round 2. At majors, he was the spoiler who made seeded players sweat early. The crowd learned to love the squeals, that high-pitched cry when a surprise EX up ball smacked a reckless jump. It never got old. The salt added to the myth. You can't buy that kind of advertising. His standing jab checks, his low profile, his odd hurt box wisps, everything about him insisted on ugly wins. Not ugly like cheating, ugly like a mud fight. That's beauty if you ask a jungle kid. A W is a W. Players with patience made him art. They walked, they blocked, they showed you your own bad habits and fed them back to you with electricity on top. They didn't need long combos. They needed the right decision, one beat early. And then the whole game felt unfair. That feeling lasted a decade. But Street Fighter IV did more than confirm his toolkit. It helped the community write his archetype in permanent ink, wild at first glance, calculated underneath, accessible to the brave, deep for the stubborn. That identity fused to his name. And then, just as people got comfortable, the tone swerved again. 5. SFV. Plushies, family, and a softer punchline. Blanka returned in SFV with a grin and a surprise. He sold toy versions of himself. Blanka-chan took over timelines. Clip after clip of a giant green warrior doting on a goofy plush. It could have felt cheap. It didn't. It felt right. The character who once barely spoke rediscovered childlike joy. The fighter who learned survival alone learned to laugh with others. Story mode gave him a mum again. It let him say out loud what older games only hinted at. He wanted to belong. He wanted to bring something home besides bruises. Fans who grew up with him understood. They had jobs now. They had bills. They still had controllers. Blanka growing into community mirrored players growing into adulthood. Gameplay followed suit. V-triggers cracked open new routes. He felt more elastic. He could fake, bait, and zigzag with a wink. Still a knowledge check. But now with modern layers, new players saw the ball and the shock. Veterans saw the choices that built those moments. The character matured without losing his bite. Memes fueled marketing. Tournaments fueled respect. He could beat a legend, lose to a rookie, then beat two more legends. Predictable in silhouette. Unpredictable in sets. Esports needed personalities. Blanka provided one with no interviews required. A celebratory hop after checkmate said more than a paragraph. All that warmth could have cooled the danger. It didn't. It balanced it. You might see the plush and think he went soft. That's how people get zapped. And that brings us to the present. The most polished version yet. The one that teaches you and trolls you at the same time. 6. SF6. Mentor in the jungle, monster in the ring. World Tour changed how Street Fighter introduces itself. You don't just fight characters, you visit them, you learn from them, you become their student. Blanka lives in a hut surrounded by nature, gadgets, and friendly chaos. He welcomes the traveler. He teaches with patience. He cracks jokes that land like low jabs. For a kid once lost in the Amazon, being a mentor is the loudest plot twist of all. On the battlefield, the new engine makes him pop. Drive mechanics amplify his mind games. Perfect parry keeps wild swings honest. But in the scramble, he's still the king of inconvenient angles. His arsenal curls around expectations. He launches from places you thought were safe. He stops where you thought he'd pass through. And yes, he still turns into a ball and reminds you that charged characters can move faster than you think. The community spotlighted specialist who made him sing. Their replays look like pranks. They aren't. They're equations disguised as chaos. Dash, pause, charge, boom. 2 seconds of silence, then 20 seconds of disbelief. When people call him cheap, that's code for I didn't study. When they call him honest, that's code for I finally did. Balance updates refined edges without gutting the heart. Slight tweaks turn frustration into opportunity for both sides. The result is a Blanka who rewards discipline and gleeful audacity in equal measure. That blend is rare. That blend is sticky. New players pick him for the fun. Veterans keep him for the control. Outside fights, the brand leaned into merch again. The plush came back with new faces. Streams kept the meme alive. Cosplayers nailed the hair and the paint and the posture. Kids wore green to locals and yelled like they meant it. A mascot became a mirror for fandom itself. Loud, loyal, a little unhinged, perfect. And in 2025, with the series bigger than ever, his silhouette still cuts through screenshots like a thunderbolt. After all this time, the roar still hits first, but the character isn't just about moments. He's about meaning that lives in the spaces between the sparks. 7. What Blanka teaches: design, story, and strategy design first. Blanka proves that silhouette wins. You can update textures, muscles, shaders, and skins. If the outline is timeless, the character survives hardware cycles: green skin, orange mane, stooped stance, arm spikes that reads at 5 pixels tall and in 4K. Most games forget this. Street Fighter never did, mechanics second. He embodies the idea of a question mark fighter. He asks if you learned the matchup. He asks if you respect charge. He asks if you can sit still in a storm. That makes him educational. It also makes him annoying. Educational and annoying often live next door. That friction keeps sets entertaining. Narrative third. Blanka is the outsider who still finds family. He's the weirdo who gets welcome back. That arc hits harder with age. Many fans felt like him in their own ways. Too loud, too different, too much. Seeing him accepted feels good. Seeing him laugh with others feels better. That emotional loop made kids loyal and made adults nostalgic. It's smart storytelling because it's simple. Cultural impact fourth. He slid into memes without losing pride. He can be a plush seller and a bracket breaker in the same weekend. That duality makes him brand proof. You can show him to a toddler and to a veteran competitor, and both will nod for different reasons. That range is marketer gold and fan glue at once. Strategy fifth. If you main him, you learn patience disguised as chaos. You learn that noise can be a tool. You learn how to freeze a screen with threat alone. Your neutral has a growl. Your defense has teeth. Your offense is a wheel that never quite rolls where people expect. Learning that style rewires your brain in a useful way. You stop asking the game to be fair. You start asking if you prepared. But myths don't last on lessons alone. They last on moments. Blanka's moments are evergreen. A last hit full screen read, a desperate anti-air that snatches victory, a stunned opponent who quick rises into a bait they swore they saw coming. The camera doesn't need to zoom for those. The crowd provides the zoom with volume. Still, after 3.5 decades, the question remains: why did this one survive when so many others faded? The answer has layers. Each decade added one. Add them up, and the silhouette stands taller than the lore. 8. The long view, 1988 to 2025 and beyond. In the late 80s, teams worked with limits, memory, sprites, sound channels. You couldn't hide behind tech. You had to build icons. Blanka is an icon. He's the color of a warning sign and the shape of a predator. He sounds like a storm coming up the river. He plays like a dare. That's core design. Core design is forever. The 90s added heart, a mother, anklets, recognition. The message was small, but loud. Even monsters can go home. That gave the green beast a soul. That soul paid dividends when comics, cartoons, and movies pulled him in different directions. A soul lets you bend without breaking. He bent a lot. He never broke. The 2000s added personality across spin-offs. The 2010s added humor, plushies, and community warmth. The 2020s added mentorship and modernized mind games. Each step brought him closer to us without sanding off the claws. He's a mascot now. He's also still a problem in pools. Very few characters get to hold both titles at once. Looking forward, the template is set. Keep the outline, evolve the tools, protect the heart. Let the meme breathe, but never let it smother the threat. He's not a joke. He's not a horror movie either. He's a grin with fangs. That balance is delicate. But the series has held it for years. If you've never played him, try. Hold charge. Wait. Listen to your opponents breathing between rounds. Then roll through their doubt. Land one shock. Hear the sound fill the room. Feel the stick tremble even when you're not actually shaking it. That's the thrill people come back for decades later. If you hate him, study. Know your ball punishes. Don't mash in the electricity. Respect the slide distance. Practice perfect parry if that's your lane. It will make you a better player against everyone else too. The Jungle Kid forces growth. That's part of why the devs keep him near the top of the roster sheet. If you love him, you already know why. It's the laugh mid-match. It's the scrappy comebacks. It's the way he turns neutral into a haunted house where only you know the exits. It's the small stories in the big tournaments. It's the kids at locals yelling his name because they learned to roar before they learned to quarter circle. And for everyone who just watches, enjoy the show. Blanka fights look wild even when they're tight as a drum. They're great on stream. They're fantastic in person. They teach you to see intention in what looks like chaos. That's not just a fighting game lesson. That's a life lesson if you want it. Let's close the loop. The roar you heard at the start, it's still echoing. Across cabinets, across consoles, across phones and streams and sold-out finals. A character who started as a sketch turned into a symbol. Not of perfection, of perseverance, not of beauty, of honesty. A creature out of place who kept showing up until the world finally met him halfway. So when you boot up a match in 2025 and the countdown begins, don't roll your eyes at the green, respect it. It's older than you think. It's wiser than it looks. It remembers every coin drop, every patch, every salty handshake. It's the jungle and the city shaking hands every time the bell rings. Blanka doesn't ask for your approval. He asks for your attention. He's had it since 1991. He'll have it tomorrow. He'll probably have it next decade too. And if you ever forget why, he'll remind you with one move. A curl, a leap, a flash. Then the sound that made arcade floors go quiet for half a breath. You know the one that says, you got too close. That's the history. That's the myth. That's the smile with teeth. The world changed around him. He stayed green. Epilogue. 10 quick beats that define Blanka. A plane crash in the jungle. A boy who learned to live without us. A color no one could mistake. A roar that tells you to back up. A ball that teaches you not to blink. A mother who sees him through everything he became. A city that confuses him but never defeats him. A plush that makes him laugh at himself. A hut where he teaches new fighters to be brave. And the stage where he still spends your last pixel like it was his first. That's not nostalgia. That's craft. That's why he lasts. Closing thought, Street Fighter paved roads for dozens of archetypes. Pure rushdown, pure zoning, grapplers, shotos, all staples. Blanka is none of those and a little bit of all of them. He charges like a bull. He turtles like a rock. He bursts like a trap. That hybrid soul wouldn't work without clarity. But his silhouette keeps it clean. That's the secret. That's the message. So the next time you see the orange hair and the hunched shoulders, treat it like a warning label and an invitation at the same time. Fight him, learn him, love him or hate him. Just don't underestimate him. People have been doing that for 30 plus years. It never ends well. Thanks for listening to the story of a character who shouldn't have worked and absolutely did. The jungle raised him. The scene shaped him. The players kept him alive. And the spark still jumps, one match at a time.